Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. First, I want to say I'm really sorry for taking so long to upload a new video since the last time. Things have been crazy, mostly in a good way. My brother had his wedding in Ohio. Right before that, however, was the bad thing. We all got strep in my house. That kind of put the recording schedule back ever so slightly. And with the craziness of recovery and then getting ready for many hours of travel to my brother's wedding, it just, everything just kind of got out of hand. But I did start this recording maybe a month ago when I was feeling okay still. And I only just finished it the other night. So thanks so much for those of you who stuck around. For those of you who unsubscribed, come back, please. I swear I'm still alive. But here we have started a build in Brindleton Bay. I wanted to go with something very autumn themed because I had not done an autumn themed build yet. And this ends up being a little cafe / pumpkin patch with a apartment upstairs. So the owner lives here in her own apartment. And I did want to use a lot of seasons, cats and dogs, and I think that's pretty much it. I may have thrown in a whole bunch of kits. I'm terrible. I can't be helped. But I think it's not too bad on the pack usage scale. So feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. But here you'll see we have moved from the rest of the building to the front. I'm just adding our columns and spandrels and fences and coming up with the basic shape. It does change a little bit. I end up adding a second floor above where the entrance to the apartment is because I needed space for the staircase. Otherwise, there would have to take up way too much of the cafe itself. I also use this new stonework that came with Adventure Awaits because it's really, really pretty and I love the warm tones. And then up top, I just used some green siding that I think came with Growing Together, if I remember correctly. I liked how it offset the kind of orangey wood tones and the stonework. I thought it was really, really nice. And it isn't really a fall color, but I think sage green is good for any aesthetic. It doesn't really matter to me. I just love that color. So here you'll see the stairs going in. I had to maneuver them ever so slightly and then add the second floor, move the roof so that it would make sense. And then up here is where the apartment ends up going, but we will figure out the floor plan for that later on in the video because that took me a long time. Also, I apologize for any pauses or weird ums. I don't really feel like doing a lot of editing to this, so I'm going to try not to. But here you'll see we have finally finished the front patio space, and I do end up just repeating it in the back because on the back patio we have some pumpkin carving stations so that your Sims can come and carve pumpkins and also just pick from the garden. Now you can't carve the pumpkins that you pick because those packs don't combine well in that sense. They're not compatible for gameplay. So your Sims can come here and harvest the pumpkins or care for them and it'll just go into their inventory. And then the pumpkins they select to do the carving comes out of the carving station, if that makes any sense. So they're not really the same pumpkins that you have picked from the garden, but we can all pretend, okay? The Sims, you have to use some level of pretend because, of course, it never works out exactly the way that you want it to. I don't think it ever really will, but we do the best we can with what we have. So here's me just copying the front porch to the back. And then later on, I end up adding lights and stuff for I will get to that in a minute, okay? I'll get to it. Like I said, this is all over the place because I started this so long ago. It took me so long to just finish. And then last night I finished the rest of the editing and I have not done any rewatching since then. So I'm going to be surprised along with you. I can't remember anything. We'll also be working our way inside very shortly where I add some cafe stuff that came with Get Together and I think a little bit from Businesses and Hobbies because a lot of the Businesses and Hobby stuff does tend to cater to like food service kind of businesses. And I thought that a lot of the items that came with that game also kind of sort of matched really well with Get Together and also with Cats and Dogs. It's a very simple layout in here. There's just ends up being one tiny little bathroom downstairs and then the rest of the space is going to be for the cafe area, some bookshelves because I added reading as one of the activities, and I think I put in a little baking refrigerator so that your Sim can sell baked goods that she makes in her little kitchen right here. This is her very adorable little country kitchen. I went with a very yellow color scheme, and then I added a cute little table here that came with businesses and hobbies, and it just has 2 chairs. It has 3 here, but I ended up getting rid of one because it took up too much space, and I will be cluttering that up later on, but I was just trying to get the feel for how big this space actually was, because it's kind of squishy, and I wanted to make sure we had a dishwasher, the sink, the stove, the fridge, everything all together so that your sim could navigate through it properly and use it. I wanted it to be playable, obviously. And then we'll make our way upstairs. This little upstairs hallway I will get to probably much later on. I just put down some basic base game wallpaper and flooring for now. That's her bed from Eco Lifestyle. I do end up keeping it. I think I changed the swatch of it into something a little bit more blue and less green, but that is where the bed goes. Definitely. I do end up changing a lot of other things. And right here is a very tiny, very, very tiny living room space. I used the frame TV because it had pumpkins on it, obviously. The couch is from Cats and Dogs. And then in the bathroom over here, we just have the base game shower, like the kind of old fashioned looking one, regular toilet, the country kitchen kit sink, which I do end up cluttering up later on. Again, I come back and I do all the cluttering later, but we have the wallpaper from, oh gosh, where did that come from? I don't remember. I think that may be Growing Together tile in the bathroom on the walls. And then the flooring ends up being base game because I changed it a million times. Back to the living room though, we have our little desk nook over here. I think that you'll probably need that to do some work on. So that was a nice little space to put that. And then in the bedroom, we have these lights that I believe came with Seasons. I like the orangey wood tones and how everything works together. So I kept that really cohesive, and the wallpaper is from Cottage Living. And then down here, we are adding our barista station for the selling of coffee and tea. And then we have our fridge for the baked goods. And I think I just add like 4 or 5 tables in here at some point, but we're going to jump outside because I was sick of being indoors, and we wanted to add a bunch of plants out front and a bunch of ivy, just lots of cool colors and flower bushes. And then eventually I think I put some pumpkins out here as well. And you'll see I didn't show all of the landscaping because it was just a lot of me picking and choosing forever. It was very indecisive and messy, and I blame being sick for that. So I think that it ends up coming out really nice, and I picked these yellow flower boxes for all of the windows just to add another pop of color. It's not very fall right now outside while I was recording this because it hadn't gotten there yet. I did have to play a few days in-game for the fall colors to really show through. By the end, you'll see all of the fall colors coming out in the bushes and the flowers and the trees and stuff. And here's the inside. Like I said, just a few tables and chairs. I believe the chairs are from Cats and Dogs, and the tables may be from University. If they're not from University, then they are from Cottage Living. I'm not 100% sure. Also wanted to have a cute little bench and also a sign for out front. And I added some decorative baked goods over here on the last little counter. And your Sims can sit at that island counter spot and drink their coffee, eat their baked goods, and read a book. That worked just fine. Adding some decorations to the back wall with the menu board and the hand sanitizer and the paper towels, because obviously we like to keep everything nice and clean. And these curtains that are so obnoxiously fall with all the leaves on them, this was the perfect opportunity. I never get a chance to use them, so they are in here. Also wanted to throw in quite a few plants just in all the little corners, and then I also throw some on the tables, and I mix it up a little bit with the selection of plants because I didn't want it to be the same flower for every single table. Also, this bakery sign just above the fridge because I thought that looked nice, and I end up lowering the brightness on that at some point. You'll see I open up the little cheat menu thing so I can lower the brightness because it's just way too bright. I think it's supposed to be outside, which makes sense. But you'll see all my flowers that went on my table. I used all different kinds from all different packs. I cannot be bothered to even think about which ones they come from, so my apologies, but I definitely used a variety. This little bathroom over here is very simple, very black and white. It has all of our essential bathroom clutter stuff, we have the toilet paper roll, the extra rolls on the back of the toilet, the plunger, soap pump, yada yada. And then of course this lovely painting that came with Dream Home Decorator of the coffee cup or the hot cocoa, whichever one that is. It's so cute and it's just perfect for the bathroom. Adds a little tiny bit of color. It's very simple though, and your Sims have perfect access to it. So that is the main point of the bathroom. Over here, you'll see I'm pulling out some pumpkins. These came from Cottage Living Debug. These are ones you can actually grow in game, all the different colors. So I scattered them about just in the front. And then we're going to make our way back upstairs to yet another bathroom. So this is our Sims apartment bathroom. Threw in some more bathroom clutter stuff. Of course, our toilet paper roll again, and the extra rolls in the candle. Here's our soap pump and toothpaste cup over here by the sink. And then back in the living room, we've added a little tiny table underneath the TV so that we can put some extra clutter in there later on. Now you'll see how I changed the swatch of the bed to be more of a blue color, and I used the debug rug that came with Nifty Knitting, I believe, and I just sized it up a little bit with Tool Mod so it fills out the rest of the room. I thought it was really pretty. We also added a live houseplant over here on the dresser, and spoiler alert, my Sim did in fact kill this plant 3 times while I was playtesting. So it works. It dies, so it must work. But yeah, that was it's a learning curve, okay? I'm in charge of keeping too many things alive in my house. I forget about real houseplants, let alone digital ones. So my bad. But you'll see we have added a little couch from Nifty Knitting as well. And we have our curtains going in from Modern Luxe, and then some more plants all over the place just to kind of take up some wall space and give some decoration. And in her living room, she also has a bookshelf, and I added the matching armchair from Cats and Dogs over here in the corner. And I believe another couple wall decorations. Yes, I used the Grange Mudroom Kit wall decoration over there, and also this vase that came with, I think that one came with Cats and Dogs, and also the Grange Mudroom coat hook and the rain boots over by the door. I thought that just made a lot of sense. On her desk, we also have flowers from Grange Mudroom Kit and the typical desk lamp that I think came with Get to Work. And I also used my little shelf trick to move that lamp up to the upper level of the desk that doesn't have any slots, which it really should have slots. Or if it does, more things should slot to it. That is all I have to say about that. And then some more plants, some candles, changing up the lighting so it isn't just those plain saucer lights. And that's pretty much it for our upstairs apartment space. Although by the computer, I did add the new magnet board that we got with the event. And then I went into Parenthood Debug and grabbed a little note that you can put up on the fridge, or that the Sims put up on the board for curfew. But I tried to maneuver it so it looks like she has a little sticky note that she's used a magnet to hold on the fridge. And I figured while I was at it, throw in all the rest of the magnets from that collection. So if you need them, you already have them. And that's just a nice little perk. And then over here for the upstairs hallway, I use this as her mudroom. So I added a lot of Grange mudroom things on these shelves. And I also used the bench from that kit. I really enjoy this kit. I think it's really, really cute, and you can use it in obviously a lot of different ways. You can use it in the living room, you can use it in a mudroom, upstairs hallway if you want. There's just many applications for it. So I did clutter it up a little bit. Here's a little tiny time lapse because I took way too long again. I also made sure I added the burglar alarms so you don't have to worry about being robbed. That's very nice to have. And also some lights on the outside of every single one of the doors because I didn't want it to be too dark in here. And then we're finally going to be cluttering up the Sims kitchen that she has on the lower level. So we use a lot of kitchen clutter stuff, just some dishes and some soap pumps, a lovely little painting of a cup of coffee because obviously we have our utensils and our spices and these cute little herbs in a pot. I just love those so much. This is one of my new favorite kits, the kitchen clutter kit. I use it everywhere. Also add another Dream Home Decorator painting in the kitchen because it looks really nice in here, and some more flower boxes and some of these carved pumpkins that you can get out of Debug and Live Edit from Parenthood. Those are the ones you can actually carve on the tables that I have out back, which is, nice to have a few there. And you can also add a candle to them and light them, so they actually add some light to your game. But here's some live mode footage. We have our employee serving coffee to little Simsy herself, because I have her Sim self in my game for some reason. Did not expect to see her here. It was a welcome surprise. And then we have some Sims who have ordered some coffee and are reading books. It's just very cozy, and it made me so happy to see it all in action. It worked out very, very nicely. I'm quite proud of that. Not too many snafus, and everybody could move around and route just like they should have. So I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you do, please be sure to like and subscribe. It is ready to download on the gallery under my ID, MissChrisBuilds. And if you have any suggestions for future builds, or if you have anything to say to me at all, and you just want to make yourself known, please feel free, because I love that. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I promise I will be more regular with my uploads, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.